Despite a government promise to investigate shady real estate transactions, MLA David Eby is far from convinced about how effective this plan will be. David, what's your take on what government has said so far?
Well, it's a bit of a frustrating process with this government because initially the government said there was no problem. Then yesterday, for the first time, Minister Fassbender was out and he said there's clearly a problem here. We want an investigation to take place. And now today, the finance minister is saying again, there's no issue. The real estate council can sort it out for themselves. Functionally, what's happening here is the real estate council is going to be investigated by a committee that it selects on terms that it sets out. And with resources and ability to get documents that it determines. And so it's controlling every aspect of the investigation of itself. And that is not an independent investigation. That's barely even an investigation. So we can't have realtors just investigating realtors in this matter. We actually need an arm's length body doing the investigation. That could be under the Provincial Inquiries Act, where a retired judge does it, or it could be the ombudsperson's office. There are lots of options available to government. This one seems to be the absolute worst, where there is the appearance of action, but literally very little happening because the body is investigating itself.
You're asking for investigations to happen outside of the Real Estate Council of BC. Why is that independence important?
Well, there's two levels of independence that we're calling for here. One is independent from the Real Estate Council of BC because it's exactly their failings that should be investigated. Why is it that this practice has been going on for so long undetected? Why is it that taxes haven't been paid by realtors who are participating in this process? Why is it that realtors aren't filling out anti-money laundering forms with their client's correct address instead of their brokerage address? Those were questions that should have been answered months, maybe years ago by the Real Estate Council and haven't been. So that's what needs to be investigated. We can't simply ask them to investigate their own failings. So we need that arm's length to ensure the independence, but also for the public that suddenly lost faith that when the realtor says to them, your house is worth $1 million, is that actually how much it's worth, or is the realtor working some other secret deal? We need some independent agency to come out and say, look, we looked at it, here's the extent of the problem, here are the steps to fix it, here's what needs to happen. And then the Real Estate Council comes in and says, yes, we'll put those changes in place.
Are there other steps government can take to protect consumers?
One of the most fascinating pieces of this entire topic and the debate that's been happening so far is the discovery for me of a new office. There's apparently a superintendent of real estate in the provincial government whose job it is in part to ensure the integrity of the real estate profession in British Columbia. I don't know where this person's been. The last consumer protection release issued by this office was 2008. I have to say, I never heard of the office before. I don't even know who this person is, but surely they could issue consumer protection press releases more than once every 5 years. Surely they could be out there making sure the Real Estate Council is doing their job. Surely they could be out there working with real estate agents to ensure the top standards are adhered to and people with their largest investment are protected. Let's make that office actually meaningful. This would be a great thing to have happen and come out of this, is that the provincial government reactivates this office. I'm picturing a guy in the basement of the legislature with a single light bulb swinging back and forth who hasn't been called on for 5 years. I don't know why he's been so inactive or she's been so inactive. I literally don't know who this person is or where they've been. So that's a good opportunity for the provincial government to really start to do some work on this important issue.